Good evening, everyone. Let's continue with Master YongHua's 4G instructions. Take it away.
讲的也不对，但是啊，还有很多人呢愿意听我讲的这个不好的，愿意听我讲这个不对的。
But many people are still willing to listen to me speak poorly, willing to listen to me speak incorrectly.
也就好像你们各位一样，这个师父不管他讲的好不好，讲开示的时候啊，咱们都到那儿随喜一下，这来捧场。
Just like all of you, it doesn't matter if this master lectures well or not. When it's time for instructional talk, we all joyfully go there to show support.
人人他都唔知道嗰啲嘢，唔知道嗰啲字點解有咁嘅情形，人人都唔。
Support. This is called influencing the masses. Therefore, they come very often to listen. 很多人呢愿意听我讲的这个不好的，愿意听我讲这个不对的，也就好像你们各位一样，这个师父不管他讲的好不好，讲开示的时候啊，咱们都到那儿随喜一下，这来捧场，这叫这个影响众，说影响众，所以啊，常常啊来听的，常常。 来听不一定说是听师父讲的好，就是来做影响众。 They come to listen very often, not necessarily because Master lectures well. They just come to influence the masses.
好像这个好几个都是他们要讲起来比我都讲得好。 但是还愿意听我讲。
It seems like quite a few people, when they start speaking, are better than me at speaking. Still, people are willing to listen to me speak.
今天呢，我也不要讲的太多了。
So, today, I also don't want to speak too much.
你们想一想啊，以后不要把师父啊撑死到这个香港，这就是孝顺徒弟了。
Think about this. In the future, do not stuff your master to death, like in Hong Kong. This is what is means to be a filial disciple.
但是呢，再补充一句，也不要把师父饿死到香港，对不对？
But one more thing, do not starve Master to death in Hong Kong either, right?
对，要饿死也是不是孝顺弟子。
If you starve your master to death, you are also not filial disciple.
反了2次，反了3次，我天天反了，你们就又说师父供养也不好了，供养也不好了。
Going back and forth twice, 3 times. If I come back every day, then you will say the master has this and that fault.
师父啊，又偏心了，又。
Thank you. Okay, he's talked a little topic briefly. Yeah. He started talking about saying that he's no good at speaking the Dharma, and sometimes he speaks incorrectly. And even so, in spite of that, people would come and listen they would come and attend his sutra lectures and Dharma talks. Why is that? He's talking about these people, when it's time to listen to the Dharma, they would come without fail to listen. And that is what in Buddhism, the kind of assembly, the kind of people, those types of people are called 影响众. Is it here? Yeah, 影响众 here. So those people are what do we call it in English? It's not influencing. It's the opinion leaders in marketing term. Does it make sense? The Chinese is that you show up and you can influence others you exert influence on others. But for the U.S., in here, we teach our people when I went to school, it's called the opinion leaders, where when you do marketing, you want to reach the opinion leaders, because that's when you can influence a lot of people through them. All right? And in Buddhism, it's called 影响, influencing the masses. And I hesitate. I don't know we should keep this word, or should we switch to opinion leaders? Okay, maybe you should have both, because influencing the masses is a Buddhist concept, and opinion leaders are slightly different in concept, in the sense that influencing the masses is that you influence others by being there. Opinion leaders are the ones who state their opinions in marketing, okay, and make choices explicitly so that their followers, the people who trust them, would follow suit. So that's why they call opinion leaders. But in Buddhism, it's influencing the masses merely by their presence and by their actions. Okay, and so they actually for being there, for listening in and attending the lectures, they are called influencing the masses, not opinion leaders. And therefore, for the Westerners, we need to explain it to them from a perspective of opinion leaders, how you have sway over a group of people, and therefore they would believe you, listen to you. Whereas in Buddhism, it's slightly different, because you show up these beings, they show up at the lectures, and what really happens in that context is that these are bodhisattvas, that when they show up, the room feels different. You know what I mean? When sometimes you're there, sitting there, and sudden a person walks by, either a monk or a nun, or maybe a lay person. All of a sudden, you feel different, a different kind of energy, maybe. Okay, more peaceful. Maybe more stronger. Okay, so that's what happened. These influencing the masses people, they would show up, and they don't have to say anything. Hey, pay attention, folks. They just sit there, they cross their legs, and listen. Okay, and I couldn't understand it when Heng Shi, a disciple of Master YongHua, complimented a monk who went to his Berkeley monastery. This is a long time ago. Now he's somewhere else, abandoned in Berkeley, I guess. But he there's a monk who is Taiwanese. He couldn't understand English at all. And then he would sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, wouldn't move. And at the end of the lecture, I still remember this. Heng Shi complimented him. He says, wow, it's so good to have you. It turns out that monk, later on, I understood that monk was 4th-stage Arhat. That's why he was able to sit for so long without moving. He just has beats and he go like this, Emitofuo, Emitofuo, Emitofuo. Master only taught him to recite the Buddha's name, and merely reciting the Buddha's name in the city of 10,000 Buddhas, day and night, he reached 4th-stage Arhat. Anyone? Any of you? Have tried that? Some of you are specialized in reciting Buddha's name. Have you reached 4th-stage Arhat yet? See, it's possible. And so he sat there, and Heng Shi said, wow, what a nice addition. The Berkeley Monastery Temple is like, I think the floor is like slopes up like this. So he sit there, so it's not even. And so when you sit on uneven floor, there's more pressure on your knees. And most people who cross the legs and sit in full lotus are usually on a flat surface. So therefore, to sit on an inclined surface actually is more stress on the knees. You would feel it after a while, after an hour or so, for sure. But this guy, 4th-stage Arhat, didn't bother him at all. And he didn't move the whole time, didn't laugh. He couldn't understand anything. Okay, they didn't translate into Chinese for him at all. Unlike here, well, we have translation to Vietnamese, into Spanish, into Korean, and so forth for you, because the objective is to make sure you learn something. Okay, for them, it's just like the star of the show is speaking. You sit there and you. So he is an example of the influencing the masses by his presence. Of course, his level is much lower than Heng Shi, and therefore, but he's also served the purpose of influencing, because he says, I'm here to support this Dharma assembly. So his mere presence is influencing the masses, because he influences a certain kind of people who are maybe not, have some condition with him, such as the weak, low level samadhis and so forth. Okay, so this is the role of the influencing the masses kind of person that happens in Dharma assemblies. And typically, it's the sages that would come and do this in order to influence the mass in understanding the importance of the teaching, the importance of cultivation, what have you, okay, whatnot, okay? So that's the meaning of it. And in doing that, you actually, as part of cultivation. All right, so that's what happened to Master YongHua, and what he said, he is correct. Because what happened is that when he was speaking the Dharma back then, long time ago, decades ago, his disciples were a lot of Caucasians, a lot of hippies back then in San Francisco in the 70s, and the flower girls, and the wheat men, so level is cultivation is quite not there. But he's recognizing there are some people who actually are influencing. They show up in order to elevate the level of the audience. Because what happens to the Dharma speaker, and don't be fooled by what he says here, because he's basically saying in English, a translation to English for his students back then. But what he's saying there, he's recognizing that people came to support his Dharma assembly, and those who could be invisible, could be bodhisattvas who manifest as a layperson. So this is what happens quite often in Buddhism. Okay? They would come to listen very often, not necessarily because I lectured well, but just to influence the masses. Okay? So that's what they do. This is how these beings cultivate. That is by being there, contributing to the level of the audience, and what their being there actually forces the speaker, like Master YongHua, to address them as well. They have to speak Dharma for them, for everyone. Okay? So that he cannot speak to only at the level, the Dharma is only a level of very low level. He also has to address all these attendants as well. That's what happened to the Buddha. Buddha, when he spoke sutras and so forth, and he spoke Dharma, there's a lot of these beings who are influencing the masses. They're there to influence the other people, the kings and the queens and the officials, as well as monks and nuns and lay people and arhats and so forth. Okay, so Buddha would then address all of them, and that's the role of them. They're there to make a bigger deal, elevate the level of the audience, the listening audience, but also by being there, they also elevate the level of the Dharma that's being bequeathed, spoken to the assembly. The Dharma is always spoken first for the assembly. So that's why it makes a huge difference for you to show up personally, because typically this Dharma speaker need to speak Dharma for you. Okay? First. K-YouTube.
네, 은공 진봉님의 질문입니다. 질문이 두 가지입니다. 첫 번째 질문은 계획하고 원하는 일이 뜻대로 안 될 때는 어떻게 해야 하나요? 대처 방법과 마음가짐에 대하여 궁금합니다. 두 번째 질문은 바이든, 트럼프는 80세임에도 불구하고 그 어려운 일을 하려고 하는 마음 자세는 어떤 것인가요?
Hi, Master. This is Korean YouTube channel. The question is from Eugong Jinbok. Master, I have two questions. Number one, what should I do when things don't go the way I planned or as I desired? What kind of mindset should I have in these cases? Question number two, what is the mindset of Biden and Trump to do such a difficult task despite being 80 years old?
Okay. Clearly, you're new with us. You haven't cultivated that much yet. And that's why your question is reflected in the way you ask your questions. My students, what I teach them is that when they ask me a question, don't go in general like, what do I do? What am I supposed to do when I'm not getting what I want? It's too general. If you want me to answer that, I need to write a book. I don't have time to write a book. Okay? That right there is really, I can speak enough for you to fill up a book, which I don't have time. Okay? And so what's best is in the future, you could refine the question and say, for example, I told my son to do this, but he refuses to do it. And what am I supposed to do? It need to be very specific. The nature of the question has to be specific enough so that I can address it. Otherwise, I have to shoot in the dark. I don't know what areas that is causing you afflictions. Because if the problem with your sons is different from a problem with your wife, problem with your boss, okay? The solutions are all different. The approaches are all different, okay? And so please refine the question, number one. Number two, if you ask about what's the mindset of these octogenarians, I have no ideas. Luckily for me, I'm not that old yet. So I have no idea what these old people are doing. I can tell you, if I reach their age, I hope I'll be able to retire. And encourage younger people to take over instead of, because I imagine at 80 years old, you probably are obsolete. Your information is obsolete, education is obsolete, you're too weak, and so forth. I would not do what they do. Okay, I would leave it to. You see, I'm of a belief that when you give the people, smart people, the opportunity, they rise to the occasion. And there are plenty of smart people here in the U.S. There are plenty of smart politicians. Okay, they are perfectly capable of doing a far better job than octogenarians, in my humble opinion. So my short answer, I don't know what the heck they're doing. They should not be there, is my short answer. Okay? Well, thank you for asking the questions. Anyone else? Okay. And he says, yeah, I'm here, but there are plenty of people who are better than him. Of course, there are plenty of people who are better at speaking than him, because in the sense that there's some people who are not interested in learning. They only want to hear what they want to hear. Okay. For example, this is why there's some people subscribe to certain news channels only. I would subscribe to everyone if I have time, so that I have a balanced view. No, there's some people who say, I only listen to the far right media, I only listen to the far left media, or listen to the middle media, whatever it is. Okay, and so of course people are selective at their hearing. They only want to listen. They only pay attention when it interests them. So of course, Master YongHua is no exception. Not many people were interested in what he has to offer anyway. So what he says is true. But still, enough people to be willing to listen. That's why he's still doing what he did. And today, I didn't want to speak too much. Okay, but in the future, do not stuff your master to death like in Hong Kong. And that's what filiality is about. He keeps on whining about eating too much. And maybe it's a Chinese kind of humor, but for me, I don't find it funny. Because no one forced him to eat. Why does he keep on complaining about this? I don't get it. Will you Chinese people explain this to me? What's a rationale for this? Huh? I don't get it. He keeps on complaining. I feel food should be worshipped. Food should be enjoyed. Food should be meant to share and enable you to bond. This is why in Europe, that's why in Asia, dinners are very important. It's when the whole family gets together, sits on a long, long table and share food. and just enjoy yourselves. To me, it's such a beautiful tradition. This is what the people in the modern times fail to appreciate. They go for efficiency, they go for logic instead of just enjoying themselves with someone else. And that's what bonding is about. It doesn't have to be anything. Could be food, could be beer, could be fishing, could be just walking around, just bonding, spending time together. No seeking. You know? And I'm sad to tell you that my parents, they were struggling so much in Vietnam, they never understood the importance of that. My father would go play mahjong, and if he wins at midnight, he'd go home because he made some money, so he would take us out to have some pho, and we liked it. Okay? But when he loses, we don't see him. So it's off and on. No, I'm trying to tell you that please take time to spend with your family, with your friends, with the people you care for. Just to spend time, have fun together. Anything, doesn't matter. And that's what sticks in people's memory. It's no seeking. It's not trying to get a new washer and dryer or anything at all. And this is why I love that tradition that I saw often on TV, documentaries where the Italians, they have a big table, they have the family, friends. I love to see Pavarotti. Anyone? Pavarotti, the opera singer, the famous one. He's so fat, he's getting bigger and bigger and bigger because he go home and he would sit down with a long table, this long from here to all the way down there. You can't even see that some people's face at the end of the table. And they would eat pasta, pizza, drink sangria, and so forth. And they just enjoy themselves. And people lose track of it. Okay? We lose our humanity in the process. And we forget about what's important, that others are important to us. If they're important enough, we should spend time with them. Just have fun with them, that's all. Not just a son, but a daughter as well. Because otherwise, he said, he only likes boys. Okay. All right? And so, I don't know why he keeps on complaining about food. To me, it's so much fun. I look forward to lunch every day because I get to see my disciples. And that's a very important time for me, where I hope to see them enjoy the food, and then help them relax a little bit. Okay. But then don't starve me either, he says. Okay. And not filial disciple. So the concept filial disciple. Okay. And okay. So that's a new topic. I think what I like to say about this section here is that he talked about the group of people who would come to influence the masses, and they like to listen to his Dharma talks or not. Okay, I'm of a different perspective where he didn't mention, that is, as a monk, a nun, He's embracing the monks and nuns, or the people who want to speak Dharma. It's not about, like Master YongHua styles. He's not about showing off his knowledge. It's about saying things that to benefit the assembly, to benefit the listeners. That includes the influencing the masses or the assemblies group as well. Because when you speak Dharma, it's your responsibility to not waste the listener's time. So it's a big responsibility. So I hope that you, if you're interested in becoming a teacher, you should prepare for that. Prepare to be knowledgeable about the Buddha Dharma. And also, don't forget to prepare to understand the perspectives and the difficulties and the struggles of the people who come to listen to you. And this is why, for us, I started this process because I didn't have it at my master's temples. I couldn't ask him directly, and he died, so I listened to his disciples' lectures. And that's why we spend so much time speaking Dharma to you. And since I don't know what I'm talking about, we also leave plenty of chances for you to ask questions. That's when I learn about you. Okay? So it's a give and take. It's not always one way. I keep on, for 2 hours, I tell to you how much I know about the Buddha Dharma and Buddhism and the profound principles of Buddhism. Yeah, I do. But it's none of your business. It doesn't mean anything to you. Okay? The Dharma is supposed to benefit you. This is why I like Master YongHua's style so much. I saw it in him. I didn't see anywhere else. Okay? And that when he spoke Dharma, like here, it's so simple, and yet it's very profound, very useful. So I challenge you, all of you, that this is a very important task. If you have aspirations to help people, this is the ultimate form of help. Okay? Think about it. Because Master YongHua is very, very good. He set up this standard of speaking Dharma that is incredibly insightful to me. Okay, it's so deep. You see, even these simple words, I can sit here and talk to you more and more and more about what he really means. Okay, all right. Next section, please.
又对各个徒弟好喽，又对各个徒弟不好喽，就是非就多喽。
Hello? Master is biased. He treats this disciple well and treats that disciple not well. Then there will be more disputes.
我在那个四行净院，我讲的清清楚楚的。
When I was at Sihong Monastery, I clearly said,
你们要修道，就是真正供养我，就是给我好业识。你们要不修，
If you cultivate the way, then you are truly making offerings to me. This is giving me good food to eat.
修道是给我个这个皮毛个好业识啊，那我们同意的。
If you don't cultivate the way, and only give me this little bit of superficial food to eat, I am not satisfied.
你们大概谁能真正去用功修道啊？认真呢，根本实行佛法，个体就还真的被好业我识了。
Among all of you, whoever can truly work hard at cultivating the way and sincerely practice the Buddha Dharma, then that is truly giving me good food to eat.
我现在，我不要用饮食来供养我的弟子，我要用真心。我天天冇讲嘛。
Now, I don't want these disciples that use food to make offerings to me. I want to use sincerity. Don't I say this every day?
人人都应该攞出个真心来，用那个真心来供养，那是是名是真精进，是名真法供养。
Everybody should bring forth their true mind and use that true mind to make offerings. That is true purity. That is an offering of true Dharma.
你们净给我好东西吃呢，我几十年以前已经就不着住到这个色声香味触法上了。
You all endlessly give me good things to eat. But decades ago, I already detached from sights, sounds, smells, tastes, objects of touch, and dharmas.
讲真了给你们听，你那我能当回事了，吃得越好我越不高兴，把我福都给我搞没着。
To tell you the truth, how can I take it seriously? The better I eat, the unhappier I become. This makes all my blessings disappear.
我修福修慧，这个福报也谋了，慧也谋了，那变成蠢呢，比你们还蠢，怎么可以做你们的师父呢？
I want to cultivate blessings and cultivate wisdom. These blessings are no more. Wisdom is no more. Then I become stupid, stupider than all of you. How can I be your master?
Okay, stop. All right, I figured it out now. It bothered me for a few nights now. Okay, maybe it might make sense to you. I just remember what happened to me as well. When I was fooling around, roaming around, trying to find a teacher, I used to go, I encounter at one time, this is actually was in Northern California, Santa Cruz, because Master YongHua had a Highway 9, a property Highway 9 there. So, and then in that area, near Santa Cruz in the mountain, there was a bunch of Hinayana temples. And these temples are usually built by a Cambodian monk or Sri Lankan monk who's a second stage Arhat, and you walk in there and you see this big statue of him. And his image is dead already. But look at him and say, it's a second stage Arhat. And for that, they would build a temple for him. And I remember visiting a temple, and then because my friend was also used to be an ex-disciple of Master YongHua as well, so he took me there, and then to visit one of his acquaintances, Hinayana acquaintances. And what I remember is that it's a small house tucked away, in that area in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And then it was around 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:30 in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning. So there were the faithful, some, I think, Thai people or some Asian disciples who gathered, those women, they got together, and then they were cooking. They were cooking a meal, cooking lunch for them. Okay, and so at lunchtime, we would sit down. The monks, the three resident monks who sat down, Hinayana monks, and then my friend and I sat there. So there were about 5 of us, and then so these people, these disciples, like six of them, would very, very respectfully offer up the food to us, our table, this table right here, okay? Then next to us, there's another table that is vacant. And so after we ate, we almost finished our meals. That's when the lay people then were allowed to sit next to in that table, okay, about 2 paces away, to eat. So my point being that their tradition of cultivation is that that was in a weekday. So their husbands were going to work. So they went to the temple to cook and offer food to the monks. And so that's the tradition of a lot of Asian people who practice Buddhism, Buddhist disciples. They come to the temple to offer food. I mean, maybe this is why Master Hsuan keeps on complaining or whining about you give me too much food. Okay, because that's the only thing they do for cultivation. No meditation, no reciting the Buddha's name, they go there, and so they plant blessings by offering food, by cooking. Okay? Yeah. And that's what Buddhism practice was about for these people. Yes, 8.
Testing. Oh, sorry. Master, there's a question on YouTube.
Yes.
By one Cordelia Lay.
Yeah.
Cordelia asks...
Lay means tears in Vietnam.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've never had those, so...
Or could mean cross-eyed. Just kidding.
Cordelia says, Emitofuo, Master, how do we invest in Pure Land properties or Pure Land stock?
Stock? There's no Pure Land stock. If there's one, it's more like cryptocurrency. I'm thinking of doing a cryptocurrency. But anyway, too many bad presses about cryptocurrencies. That's what's stopping me. But it's a good way to invest and create blessings, rebirth blessings in particular. So no stocks. I jokingly said to my disciples, you should, it's because it's pitiful to me to see how ill-informed people are about the Pure Land Dharma. Because the way it's taught to, even including Master YongHua, by the way, is all included. I look at all the Chinese practice of Pure Land, I said, and Vietnamese and Taiwanese, and and even the Hinayana also taught Wan Yin and all those Dharma doors because their disciples asked for it. I feel that the Pure Land practice is so incomplete in the sense that it's reduced to you, okay, reciting Buddha's name, and then you going to the temple to get help for someone who dies. That's all the Pure Land Dharma door is about. Am I correct? Am I missing anything? Anyone? Agree, disagree? That's it. You practice and you say, oh, I want to go to the Pure Land, do anything, go to the Pure Land. But then, doesn't mean anything until you die. Then you come to the temple, and then you ask for help. And so, to me, including Master YongHua, when he explained the Pure Land Dharma door, he didn't spell it out for his disciples. So when I learned secondhand from his disciples and I watched how they practice the Pure Land Dharma door. Even he himself would not allow the city of 10,000 Buddhas to do the 49-day service. His rationale, you'll be too greedy to make money. It's not about making money, it's about helping people go to the Pure Land. So I was very dissatisfied with it. I said, if we do this, if we copy the same Chinese or Asian tradition, how on earth are we going to be able to convince the non-Asians, the people who have not been exposed to Pure Land Buddhism yet? Okay? Especially I, being Americanized, I need to have a complete picture. Okay? So that's why after all these years, I decided, after I tried the Chinese for a style for a while, Chinese, copy exactly Master YongHua did, because that's why I learned. First learned the Dharma, and I saw how the needs of my students, back then I had 2 or 3 students, and their needs were being met by the Chinese Dharma. That's why I said, okay, then we have to do this for you, have to do that for you. And that's why what I found is so disappointing. The Chinese Dharma is, you have to wait until you die before you can get help. Until then, temple can't do anything for you. Am I correct? Sunims, monks, nuns, lay people. I don't know a whole lot. I've been at this for 25 years, that's all. I don't know anything. Please teach me. That's my problem. I said, as an American educated person, I don't want to wait until I die and hope that my surviving relatives would remember to go to the temple to get help for me. I want to prepare for that. What can I do? So that's why, and not only that, my students, they were all very demanding. They said, so you did the 49-day for my as I requested. Did he make it? Because that's what people will ask us. Okay? It's amazing. The Koreans, they spend a lot of money, a lot of time. They would come to the temple every day and offer 108 different types of food offerings to the deceased, to the triple jewel and so forth, every single day, mind you. Okay? Am I correct, Koreans? Huh? And six. Three.
예, 49제를 올리면 일주일에 한 번씩 가가지고 절에서 전부 다 과일이고 음식이고 떡이고 해가 차려줍니다. 그러면 이제 그 제를 지내는 사람은 가가지고 뭐 절도 하고 돈도 넣고 이러고 기도를 하고 옵니다. 49일 동안 7번을 갑니다.
Master, in Korea for 49 days, we visit the temple weekly, so that will be 7 times we're visiting to the temple that we requested for 49 days.
Yes.
So the temple prepare all the food, fruits and rice cakes and etc.
Yes.
And
Chinese too.
and,
Taiwanese too.
and the person who requests the 49 days will go pray and then also sometimes donate.
Yeah. Here, the temple close by here, a Taiwanese temple, Fai Yinsi. They're very popular. A lot of people go there to ask for help to do the 49-day thing. Okay? It's a stone's throw. It's right there. The big temple next to us. Okay?
그 49일 되는 날은 마지막 제날은 가면은 뭐 집안 식구도 많이 오고 친구도 오고 뭐 한 100여 명씩 가가지고 점심 먹고 마치 또 잔치하듯이 그러고 즐기고 옵니다.
So just to add one more thing, on the last day of 49 days ceremony, the family and the friends all gather together. Sometimes like over 100 people, they all eat lunch and it becomes like a party.
예, 그리고 책을 뭐 지장경이나 아미타경 같은 책을 그 오는 손님들한테 전부 다 이제 제사 지내는 측에서 만들어 가지고 법보시를 한다고 또 나눠 드리기도 합니다. 네, 네.
So sometimes the person who requests for 49 days for deceased person, they make sutras, like for Earth Store Sutras or Amitabha Sutra, and then make a copy and then share with everyone. So that's like a donation, Dharma giving.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's typical Asian Pure Land practices. They do a lot after people died. Okay? And so I did that too. I started by doing that at Master Shrinawa's temples, and some experiences came to me, and after I left and had to do for my students, I gradually discovered my students' real needs. This is when they came to me and they asked because they are not really, they really don't understand. You're not supposed to do that. They asked me, did my relative make it to the Pure Land? If the Vietnamese, they go to a Vietnamese temple, they never ask the monks and none of that, do you? You Koreans do that. Do you ask your Sunims, did my mother go to the Pure Land? You don't, right? No, you don't. Vietnam people don't, right? No one. But my students, they ask me, did he make it? Yes, three.
Yeah. Con chào thầy. Trước khi con tới Quy Sơn Tự đó thì con có tham dự trong mấy cái chùa về tịnh độ đó, thì cái mà con hiểu đó là mấy thầy đã dạy là mình phải niệm Phật A Di Đà, niệm ngày niệm đêm, để khi mà mình ra đi đó mình nhớ để mình niệm 10 tiếng thì Phật A Di Đà đến để tiếp dẫn mình về Tây Phương Cực Lạc. Nhưng mà rồi sau đó đó mình vẫn tiếp tục làm cái pháp 49 ngày cầu nguyện, và khi mà người ra đi đó mà mặt mày tươi khỏe mà thì người đó đã về Cực Lạc. Cái đó là tụi con hồi nào giờ hiểu như vậy rồi, mà ngay cả bây giờ họ cũng vẫn nghĩ như vậy. Rồi khi mà con đến đây thì con thấy con cũng rất là ngạc nhiên là mình sẽ không được như vậy. Theo cái thầy dạy thì mình không có dễ dàng nó về Tây Phương Cực Lạc khi mà chỉ niệm Phật A Di Đà suốt ngày suốt đêm như vậy. Cái đó là con hiểu lúc trước là như vậy. Dạ, cảm ơn thầy.
Hello, Master. before I came to Waymartin Temple, I have had a chance to participate in several Pure Land temple, and this is what I understand. So the monks and nuns, many master venerables taught us to recite Amitabha's Buddha's name day and night, so that at the end of our life, we can recite 10 times to in order to take rebirth to the Pure Land. However, even after we pass away, we have to continue doing the 49 days in order to pray for them for rebirth. However, when they pass away, the sign to recognize whether people can rebirth to the Pure Land is to look at their face feature appearance to see if they're fresh or they happy and warm. That means that that person was already rebirth to the Pure Land. This is the sign that I understood. But however, when I came to our temple, I understand that it is not easy to recite the Buddha's name day and night so that you can take rebirth to the Pure Land this life. This is what I understand.
Okay, after you die, after people die, yes, you can see their bodies and there are various things that the Buddhists are taught to kind of gauge where the deceased is going. Okay, but so one of the signs is that when you want to have a good complexion and so forth, that's not correct because it's only the complexion after you die. You still have 49 days left. That during the 49 days, anything could happen. Okay, so that's why to say that just because you watch a thing, whether it's your knees that's warm, that means you're going to the hells or hungry ghosts, whatever, I don't remember anymore. It's all nonsense. That's from the Tripitaka, from collected by the Japanese, and because the point being that there's still 49 days, okay, where you still have chances to affect where the disease is going, unless you are a sage, unless you are a bodhisattva, then these people can go right away. But if you're a layperson, usually you have 49 days to get help. This is why the 49-day thing at the Buddhist temple is very, very useful. This is a superior Buddhist advantage with dealing with death that no other people knows. Okay? So I can't stress enough the importance of this 49-day service, and wherever you choose to go to a temple, believe me, it's very, very helpful to the deceased, guaranteed. But whether they go to a Pure Land or not is something else. But it's very, very much needed help for the deceased. So that's why the Koreans, you see, this is why the Korean the tradition of the Korean Buddhism is so sound. They made a big deal out of it because when you make a big deal, you create blessings for the deceased. It helps. Okay, the Vietnam people, they go and assist in recitation more than the Koreans. Okay, and the Chinese, they have this assisting recitation group where they come recite. Okay, at the funeral, at weekly, if possible, and so forth, in the hospital, and so forth. Those are good practices, very, very useful. But ultimately, I'm an American. My students who were American, they said, did he make it? I said, no one ever asked that me before. So, but I lucked out. I was at Calgary, Calgary, Canada, at Master Shinhua's temple, and Avatamsaka Monastery. And there's a monk there who no longer there. He left. He returned to lay life. He was one of the early disciples of Master Shinhua. When he was driving Master Shinhua around, and he's a Caucasian, and he's bipolar, so he didn't get along. I didn't know it back then. He couldn't get along with his wife. His wife brought him to the temple, so I give it to you, Master. Take my husband, please. So he went back and forth, back and forth. He goes to the temple because his wife didn't want him there. And then after he found that cultivation, he didn't like cultivation, he said, I don't like to cultivate. So he went back home to his wife. His wife said, stay with him for a month or two. And said, no, you just go back to the monastery. I can't take you. And so that's why he went back and forth. And finally, he became a senior member of the Sangha, and he was in charge of Canada, all the properties in Canada. And so I went there to be punished because I was a naughty boy. And so, but I lucked out because he showed me what Master Shenhua taught him how to do the 49-day things. Because when I was at the city of 10,000 Buddhas, they didn't do the 49-day service. Master Shenhua would not allow them to. So Avatamsaka Monastery, throughout their system back then, was the only place where you could go and ask for 49-day service. You see, so my being naughty really paid off. And so he taught me how to do it, okay? And because they had a lot of properties, he said, only two of us. I was a novice, he was a fully ordained monk, high-level monk, high-level Sangha. So he's always traveling, he's never around. And so he taught me many things. He says, you're a novice, you're supposed to bow, an hour every day. So I said, okay, you can't tell me what to do. So I would bow down. I stayed down there for an hour, and then I would get up. He didn't tell me how. I was really a naughty monk. But when he was away, I wouldn't even bother bowing because I love to sit. I love to do Chan. I didn't care for anything else. And so anyway, I learned a lot from this guy, and I owe him a lot, to be honest with you. And he taught me how to do the 49-day service. And so one day, there's this guy here who's an engineer. He walked in there and said, my dad just died. And I'm a disciple of Silai Temple here. Oh, no, my mother died. I'm sorry. My mother died. And so he flew from LA to Calgary. And they were looking around for a temple to do the 49-day service. And they called me up and said, I said, hello, so you do 49-day service? He said, yes. How much? $1,200? I still remember the price. It's my first case. And he said, can I come in and talk to you? He said, no. Why not? You should call all the other temples. They do much better job than we do. You should go and ask around first. They have real temples. Okay, so the guy went and brought his sister, and they talked to all the temples there, and he even came to our temple and talked to me. And for some reason, he chose us, and I didn't want him. I said, I want to cross my legs all day. I don't want to do, my mind said, I want to cross my legs. I don't want to do your 49-day thing. It's not my money. I take $1,200. I don't even get a dime out of it. What do I care? That's me. Very American. No one liked me back then. So anyway, so I was forced to do it. I was grumpily did it. Okay, so I did every day, and for 7 days I would do it. Okay, so I was doing the 49-day things for this couple here, and for this woman here, and they're disciples of Master Xing in the Sea Light Temple. Okay, and so I was doing grudgingly, but I followed the same procedure that Master YongHua taught his disciples. That's why I learned how to do it. Okay, and at the end of the 7 weeks, 49 days, the whole family gathered again. And they had lunch at the temple. Okay, of course, Master YongHua's temple, they always have people who come and cook for us. I have my own chef, mind you. Okay, every day she will in and cook for me and make special nước mắm for me. Okay, fish sauce for me, vegetarian fish sauce, and then leave so that I can eat. And so the whole family gathered, and I just didn't know what to talk to them about. So they asked me. He said, my son, the guy who was here, lived here in LA, my son dreamt of my mother. And his grandma told him, say, Grandma is now with Amitabha Buddha. So you be a good boy to your dad, you hear? Because the son was the oldest of the family. So in a Taiwanese kind of arrangement, they're the most important member among the children. They're the rank highest. So the man was the eldest son, so therefore his oldest son was also the most important one in the family. You know what I'm talking about, you Chinese people, huh? Okay? So the grandma, the grandson there was the grandma's favorite surprise, right? Okay, so she came back and said, I am in the Pure Land of Amitabha Buddha, but I miss you. I want you to behave, be a good boy, and listen to your father, you hear? And then she left. They told me the dream. And that's my very first time I did the 49-day. And that's when I had feedback right away. I didn't understand. I just did, I was very, very, had a very bad attitude because I have no respect for these people. Okay? And I stuck around because of my parents. But anyway, my first time I did it, somehow she was allowed to go back and send a message to the grandson. When I later understood it's for me. Then I realized later, years later, when I had to do it for my disciples, my first few disciples, that actually I'm able to help. Because this is how in the early days, I got feedback that actually the process we went through, the process we did, actually made a difference. And this has happened a lot for the last 19 years to many, many people. Not all of them, but the chosen ones would dream or would have these different manifestations to tell us that they made it to the Pure Land. Okay? So that's what we hear from the people who asked us. But my problem was that when they asked me, did my mother make it to the Pure Land? I have a problem. I can't say, oh, that person says so for that family, but your family, what am I supposed to tell these people? You see? And so I somehow, because of the need, somehow figure out a way to check and tell them that, yes. And so that's why I said earlier when someone talked about Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden, I said, when you should not underestimate yourself. When you put in the position where you must deliver, some people are able to rise to the occasion if there is real need for it. Okay? And so anyway, that's how our Pure Land Dharma evolved. The original question was, do I buy stocks? How do I buy stocks? My answer is I'm trying to answer that question. I'm sorry it's taking so long because it's not an easy question to answer. My point here is that I feel that the Chinese, Asian, Pure Land Buddhism doesn't do a good enough job to prepare you for rebirth while you are alive. You should not have to wait until you die. Because after you die, it's too late. You can't do anything about it yourself. You're totally at the mercy of your relatives, your friends, okay, and so forth. Okay, so that's why we develop over the years many things to improve your chances for rebirth, and experience has told us that it really work better. Okay. One point, I'm going to directly answer the question: how do you invest in a stock in Pure Land? Let me tell you exactly one of the questions I ask myself. Okay, that is, when we are alive, we invest in ourselves by getting education. Yes? By buying stocks. Nowadays, gold is a very good thing to buy. The next few years, gold is very good. Because when times are hard, gold shoots up in value. Okay? And so, we smart people invest in our future. So what kind of investment can you make for your future in the Pure Land? And no one ever give you that answer. You buy apartments, you buy houses, you buy education, okay, to invest in your future. But what can you do? How can you invest in the Pure Land? And again, there's no stocks in the Pure Land. Okay? So that's why I jokingly told my disciples, or those that have been following me for a long time, and for some reason they believe everything I told them. Luckily for you, it's only a handful of them. So I told them, you should invest in your future in the Pure Land. Okay, and that's what the concept of investing in the Pure Land. And I jokingly said it's a BLI neighborhood or whatever. It's about you should. I hope in the future, the other people too, the other temples, the other organizations would also consider having means for their disciples to invest in the Pure Land, very much like we can buy a building in Boston, and 20 years later, it becomes more valuable. Same thing happens with the Pure Land. Similar concepts. So what I'm trying to tell you is the spirit of the question is that if you are willing to invest in your present life right now, you should also be willing to invest in your future life in the Pure Land as well. And that's what I mean by a more complete Pure Land Dharma than the Asians. Okay? All right, KU2.
네, 입근 정현님 질문입니다. 며칠 전 운전을 하다가 참새가 날아와 차량에 부딪혀서 죽은 듯합니다. 이 참새는 이날 죽을 운명이었나요? 그리고 그것이 저한테 미치는 영향을 알고 싶습니다.
Master, I have a question. My name is Ipgun. A few days ago, I was driving and a sparrow hit into my car and then died. Is that the day that sparrow has destiny to die on that day? And what kind of effect do I receive because of the death of the sparrow? Thank you.
It's accidental death. It's not like you try to kill the sparrow. And therefore, what that happens quite often to many people, they run over some earthworms, some deers, some like around here, what is it? Not raccoon. What's that thing? That big rat that stings? What?
Possum.
Possum. Thank you. Possum. There you go. Possums. There's one around Lu Mountain Temple. There's one in Gold Forest as well, I'm told. But because we saw them, and they walk around this big thing, and you drive him. And he stands there and walks slowly to the side. So it happens happens quite often. And the way that the Buddhist disciples are taught is to recite, in Master Shenoa's temples, we taught to recite the rebirth mantra, okay, for the dead animal, a cat or dogs or whatever, deer or whatever. Or you could recite the Buddha's name 10 times, because some of you eat meat, therefore reciting mantra is not it's not as effective as it could be. Eat meat and garlic, then your mantra's recitation is not as effective. So you can simply recite the Buddha's name 10 times. And that's very important. You only have to recite with your utmost concentration the Buddha's name 10 times. And that's extremely, extremely helpful to the dead animal, whether it's a sparrow or whatever it is. Because so you turn a bad thing into a good thing, because by themselves, these animals cannot encounter the opportunities to have rebirth blessings at all. So in the future, it will help them big time. All right? That's all you have to do. So even what you're learning here, you may not have a lot of high-level skills, but from a goodness in your heart, when you see those dead animals on the road, you can simply recite the Buddha's name 10 times. It says how we can, all of us can help these beings who will really appreciate it. All right? Thank you for the question. Anyone else? All right, so I challenge you, all of you Asians, to question the status quo, because I feel that the Asian Pure Land Buddhism is incomplete, and therefore we should all try to improve upon it, because it makes a big difference in your lives and other people's lives as well. Okay? It could be so much better. This is why I call it American Pure Land Buddhism, because I don't want to be associated with Asian Pure Land Buddhism, because I feel it falls far too short for my needs and my students' needs. Yes, sir, back there. What number? 8.
Master, I want to ask. Yeah, Master, I want to ask. Is it normally we we cycle 那个净土往生咒跟那个那个阿弥陀佛有什么分别呢？
So he's asking what's the difference between reciting rebirth mantra and Emitofuo.
It's not that much different. What really matters is your samadhi level, your skill. We call it YongHua, or your skill level. The Buddha's name or the mantra, it's just a tool. And therefore, the results depends on the person using it, not the tool itself. Okay? So if you give a knife to someone who's not skilled, he cannot do much with it. But you give a knife, that sushi knife to a sushi chef, he will create a wonder. He will create a masterpiece. It's the same knife. But in the hands of someone who understands, who is experienced, who is skilled, he will do wonders. Whereas you give it to me, I say, I cut myself. Does it make sense? So that's why when you talk about reciting Buddha's name or the mantra, it really is not much difference at all, depending on what your skills are. For some people, they like to recite the Buddha's name, and that's a very good thing to do. Most people are very good at that. Okay, a lot of people also like to recite the rebirth mantra. Okay, there's a saying there in the Pure Land circles, you recite it 40,000 times, and you attain rebirth. It's baloney. Okay, because it's like you cannot put a number there. Okay? And so each one has its distinctive characteristics and advantages and disadvantages. As I just said a little bit ago, when you recite mantras, there's some conditions. You need to avoid the 5 pungent plants. You need not to eat meat. And what I am not telling you yet is that you need not to lie, by the way. Shh. Don't tell people. If you recite mantras and you often lie, mantras don't work. Why not? Shh. Just us only, okay? We edit out this section, put it in the subscription part. Okay. For $10 a month, you get to know our secrets. Why is that? When I transmit to you the 42 hands and eyes, when you recite mantras, why is that? You should not lie when you practice mantras. It's called true words. If you recite true words with a crooked mouth, with an untrue mouth, how is it supposed to be effective? I ask you. And this is why we don't care. We can give you the 42 hands and eyes, give you a mantra and this mantra and so forth. But if you don't know how to cultivate, we can't care less. You can steal it from us. People steal it online and come here and pretend. There's one Taiwanese woman who said we need to take refuge. So she spent 3 months, took refuge to receive a 42 hands and eyes and disappeared. I say, go take it. You can take it, okay? We're not scared, okay? You can steal anything you want. But you don't know how to practice, it ain't gonna do anything for you. And what I'm telling you is that if you want the 42 hands and eyes to do wonders for you, don't lie. If I lie to you, my 25 years of practice doesn't work. If I slander you, my 42 hands and eyes would not work. If I cheat you, it will not work. Be careful. Think big. Don't think small. You cheat one person, you get $200, $2,000, $20,000, $200,000, $2 million. Your hands and eyes are worth trillions of dollars, gazillions of dollars. You don't know how big of a treasure it is. Get it? You understand now? This is why in the mantras it's much more difficult. If you do it right, okay? This is why I said, if you recite 40,000 times that mantra and you lie 40,000 days, okay? It's not going to bring you to the Pure Land, I guarantee you. It's not going to work. So that's why mantras are much more rigorous of a practice. Buddha's name is much easier. Does it help? Did I answer your question? Different practices, different requirements. But if you excel at any of them, it would work. You excel reciting a mantra, you can attain rebirth to the Pure Land. You recite the Buddha's name, you can attain rebirth to the Pure Land as well. If you don't screw up during the 49 days. Go first.
Thank you, Master. I was just wondering that as a salesman, pretty much often lie. In my case, what will happen to me?
What happened to you? Did you lie a lot?
I think occasionally, yes. I can't be 100% true to my client. And sometimes in my real life, I lie too.
Well, you're screwed for life. And this is why mantras are not for you. The 42 hands and eyes are for you. Meaning that if you recite this hand number 5, okay, and you happen to lie 10% of the time, okay, then your number 5 hand and eye will probably work. It's probably effective maybe 3% instead of 100%. You know what I mean? It still works, but it's not full effect, if you will. So instead of using number 5 to kill someone, okay, you only get to shave the hair. That's all. You can't harm them. Got that, girls? Don't lie, okay? Girls, look at the girls. They say, no, don't look at me, Master. God, look at them, okay? Except for Lloyd here, okay? The rest of us are very honest. We never lie. This is why we can practice 42 hands and eyes. Did they tell you that when you transmitted to you, the four of you this morning? They didn't tell you that, huh? Trade secret, I told you. Was there a question? Yes, 6.
Emitofuo Master, regarding to the Pure Land Dharma door, I would like to comment about this, an experience, and ask you about it. My grandfather died on June this year, and you sent it to Pure Land. For what I am very grateful for that, Master. Thank you very much. The 49th day, the exact 49th day when he died, my brother had a dream of him, and he saw him like very happy and younger. And you told that that's what the sign that he make it to the Pure Land. So then,
to you, yeah.
What?
For you, yeah.
Okay. Well, in September and October, around those months, a neighbor saw my grandfather. In 2 months, kind of, he saw him 3 times. So the last time she says that she saw at my grandparents' house, and she told me that the last time she saw him, he was very, very young. Very, very young. I was wondering why, now he's in the Pure Land, but for some reason, Amitabha Buddha allowed him to come back and visit the family. And I wanted to know about why, or if you can comment about this. Thank you, Master.
Okay, I don't want to start a rumor, but sometimes you're allowed to go back and see your girlfriend. And that's all I can tell you. Amitabha has his own reasons. Who am I to try to interpret his rationale? Like for me, I was very, very grateful that Amitabha Buddha, this I'm just sharing it with you, just between us, okay, girls, that the first time I did it, I was, even though I was doing it grudgingly, but I'm very professional about it. I don't want to do it, but when I do it, I say, we are professionals, we should try our best, okay? And so I try my best, and I'm very grateful for receiving the message through that grandson there, that it helped the grandma. That's what later years, like 7 years later, when people started asking me to help them, I did the same thing, and then they have similar experiences. So that's why I finally understood that was arranged by Amitabha Buddha for me to know that it helped, because I didn't believe. I just did because I said, I'm professional about it. This is what you're supposed to do. You get $1,200 from them. This is a long time ago, you hear? Now it's a lot more. It's like 12,000, I think. How much? Right now? No, over there is very expensive now. Very, very expensive. Okay. Like several years ago, all the Chinese temple is like $10,000. Korea is like, and I have someone here who died, and they spent like $20,000 on the funeral services. Okay, so people are willing to pay, and this is what sustains the temples. We don't have that kind of support, trust me. But anyway, I want to share with you that my personal experience is that I know now, I believe it's Amitabha Buddha arranging for me to see the effects, for me to see that yes, we can help. This is what the most important part for me, that when I created these different dharmas, does it work or not? Because that's important. If I tell you something and I know it's not true, my 2 hands and eyes will not work anymore. It's a curse. And I'm sitting here, and all of you ask all sorts of questions. Okay? So if I tell you untruth, I'm dead. I can't do my job anymore. I can't use the hands and eyes anymore. I use it a lot in my work. Yes, JMT.
마스터 2가지 질문이 있는데요. 이제 첫 번째는 이제 제가자들 사이에서 좀 의견이 좀 갈렸었어요. 한번 끊을까요, 세라니?
Master, I have a question. Among the lay people, there were different opinions.
이제 어떤 거냐면 그 마스터께서 예전에 법문하셨을 때 오신채나 육식을 하게 되면 만트라의 효과가 떨어진다고 했고, 제가 기억하기로는 만트라 효과가 한 40%밖에 안 된다고 제가 그거를 기억을 해서 42수한 42번을 5번을 하고 있는 거거든요. 네.
So I remember Master once talked about this during a Dharma talk. If you eat 5 pungent food and meat, the effectiveness of mantra decrease. What I remember is maybe decreased to 40%. That's why I recite 42 hands and eyes 5 times a day.
이제 오늘의
Pretty good. Very clever.
근데 마스터 오늘의 제 질문은 뭐냐면, 그렇다면 만트라 수행을 하는 데 있어서 제가자들끼리의 의견이 분분했던 거는 만트라 수행을 방해하는 게 육식이냐 오신채냐 둘 중에 어떤 게 더 장애를 일으키느냐가 첫 번째 질문이고요.
So today's question is about the mantra. The lay people has a different opinions. Which one is worse, 5 pungent food or eating meat?
그다음에 두 번째 질문이 있는데 좀 답변 듣고 할까요? 어떻게 할까요?
Should I wait for your answer and then go to the second question, Master?
Your second question.
네. 두 번째 질문은 뭐냐면 마스터, 제가 이번에 감기에 걸렸을 때 제가 했던 방법을 순차적으로 설명을 해드리면 데이타임에 다지토를 했고, 두 번째 그게 안 돼서 42수 안에 3번을 했고요. 그것도 안 돼서 이제 데비주를 했는데, 데비주는 사실은 제가 장애가 있어서 한 번을 제대로 잘 못했었어요. 한 번 또 끊을게요.
So, Master, I caught a cold, so I like to explain what's the process that I went through. First of all, during the daytime, I started with the Dajito, but didn't help me, so I went into the 42 hands and eyes number 3. And then I went to Great Compassion Mantra. But I always had a difficult time to recite even Great Compassion Mantra one time.
그래서 이제 다 효과가 없어가지고 제가 감기약을 먹었는데도 감기약도 효과가 전혀 없는 거예요. 그래서 제가 마스터께 질문을 했더니 마스터께서 MMBM을 하라고 하셔가지고 그걸 54번 했는데 완전히 감기는 나았었거든요. 또 한번 끊을게요. 네, 나무 보채 파티. 네.
So all 3 methods were actually failed, and then I even took the cold medicine. It wasn't really helping me at all. So I asked your master your opinion. You told me to recite medicine master mantra. So I did 54 times, and then my cold is gone.
이제 제 질문은 두 번째 질문은 지금부터인데 감기를 낫고 회복을 했는데 다시 감기에 걸렸을 경우에는 원래 이렇게 만트라로 효과가 없는 건지 그게 좀 궁금했고 제가 42수한 3번 네 죄송해요. 한번 끊을게요. 지금요. 그러니까 감기에 원래 걸렸는데 이 약 마스터께서 그러면 세라님께 드리는 발명은 이제 마스터께서 약사주를 하라고 하셔서 제가 54번을 하고 회복을 완전히 했는데 절에 나와서 다시 감기에 걸린 거예요. 그리고 나서 회복이 계속 안 되고 있는데 그게 어떤 건지 네 일단 질문 드리고 싶고 네.
So I was able to overcome my cold, but unfortunately I came back to the temple. I caught a cold again, and so she's going to continue explain.
그래서 이제 제가 감기가 낫질 않고 있는데 제가 좀 의문이 됐던 거는 42수한 3번이 효과가 전혀 없는 거에 저도 좀 충격을 받았었거든요. 그래서 이렇게 만트라를 통해서 회복이 됐는데 재감기 걸렸을 때 이게 회복이 안 되는 거랑 42수한 3번이 전혀 듣지 않았던 거에 대해서 질문을 드리고 싶었었습니다. 이상입니다.
So unfortunately I'm still sick, but my question is when I catch cold, I tried that number 3, but it was not effective. It was very shocking. And then
So shocking, yeah.
And then when I did the mantra, medicine master mantra, it was effective. So I'm wondering about this happening, this phenomena.
I have an answer for you. I have no idea. I'm so sorry. Okay, go see a doctor. Yes, dear. Hey, it's called enduring it.
그게 아니고 제가 약을 먹었는데 감기에 약이 듣지 않아가지고 질문을 드렸던 거라서 다시 한번 가볼게요. 그럼.
The reason I'm asking this question is because I took the medicine, it was ineffective. Okay, I'll go see my doctor again.
Thank you very much. Good night, everyone. It's too much.